Kip Lewis is one of those big guys that stepped up for the Oklahoma Sooners. We're going to discuss what he means to this team coming up next.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Again, shout out to all the everydayers out there. And hey, Kip Lewis, man, he was really, really impressive. He's been a guy that, as you look at the developmental process of players, he comes in the 2022 recruiting class, didn't really play much that first season. And then in 2023, wasn't a starter until about midway through the season. That Texas game really stood on his head, stood out, and was an emphatic player for the defense. And now he's one of your best players on defense.
He is, man. And I had put out a tweet about that yesterday, and unfortunately forgot off one key player. But at the same time, that linebacker room is in great hands going forward, right? We're going to miss the heck out of Danny Stutzman just because he's the heart and soul of that defense, and you can tell. But Kip, I think Kip's going to take the reins as the dude going forward right afterwards, right? So you'll have Kip, you'll have Kobe, you'll have Lewis Carter, who I accidentally forgot about, the Crimson Missile. You'll have him. You're going to have Kanik, right? Omosigo. And then you'll go down the line to the young players. We are in a very blessed spot to have linebackers that's built specifically for Brent Venables and Zach Alley defense that's going to continue to hold up. That and the safeties, oh my goodness. Absurdly talented. We're going to have some fun going forward. So don't expect this defense to fall off at all. But no, shout out to Kip. This is our second player this season to get Defensive Player of the Week in the SEC. That's huge, right? Now I'm hoping that once going to Red River, that we get a national or a Bronco Nagurski Defensive Player of the Week to go right behind this one, just like we did last time, right? Absurd game. He played lights out, and he played his heart out, right? You can tell that he cared. And I think that was my favorite part about the rewatch, John. I was going through, looking, I'm like, okay, who on this defense is really turning it on and trying to do something? And every time you looked up, you saw Kip Lewis with major claps. You saw him getting into plays. You saw him getting everybody pumped up. And I was like, yeah, Kip cares about this game. I don't know what it is. There's something about this game that got him hyped. And I think it was because it looked like we had low energy. And I think he wanted to fire everybody up. He was everywhere in this game. Yeah. Every time I looked up, he was in the backfield, grabbing somebody's legs. He was back there pushing somebody back to make the play harder. He was getting the tackle. Everything that you were looking for from a player in this game, Kip was giving it to you. And I see why he got that. I mean, outside of the pick six, that was great. Finished with 5 tackles, total 4 of them solo with the tackle for the loss. And then he had that pick 6. Kip was involved in so many plays. He was everywhere. And I'm glad that he got that and got that recognition, because to me, that should open up everybody's eyes as to how good of a week that we actually had in that game. Now, it wasn't the prettiest game, but it was a good game overall.
Well, and that's in a game where he only plays 31 snaps.
Which is crazy.
Did
not even think he only played 31 snaps.
Right.
Bananas.
So he was that impactful on less than 50% of the snap count on the defensive side of the ball. He was 4th among linebackers in snaps. And that's not if you include Trace Ford as a linebacker, which Pro Football Focus did as an outside linebacker, then he was 5th among linebackers in snaps. So let's get Kip on the field a little bit more, because he definitely brings the juice. He brings the energy. He, like you talked about, he brings the heart. He just has those different intangibles that you're looking for, but he always plays fast. I mean, he just plays like he's got roadrunner legs. Like he's just always moving quick, always moving fast. And that's one of his great strengths. I'm sure that they came into this game thinking, hey, we need to be able to control the box, control the run game. And that's why you're seeing a lot more Danny Stutzman, Kobe McKenzie combinations. But you got to figure out a way to get Kip Lewis on the field more, because despite the size, the guy plays bigger. He plays above his weight class. And as he's added size, he's gotten stronger, and he's gotten better at handling those second level blocks, taking on offensive linemen and still being disruptive. Again, 31 snaps, and he had 5 tackles, 4 stops per Pro Football Focus, which takes into account down and distance. And then he got the pick six. Man, that absolutely was the play of the game because it gave Oklahoma the lead. It was the game-winning touchdown, the game-winning score, and put Oklahoma up. So, you tip your hat to the kid because, again, we talk about it all the time. The developmental trajectory for every player is just a little bit different. And you saw Jaren Kanak was the guy that kind of got a lot of the run as a true freshman, was the starter going into 2023, and Kip Lewis overtook him, And so those initial depth charts are good, but they don't always tell the whole story. And you love to see a player just continue to earn his spot, earn his time. And he's going to be another impactful player when you take on Texas, because again, that's a team that's a very dynamic team that's got, a good passing attack, and you're going to need somebody with that speed, especially out on the perimeter, to go and make plays. And I think we'll see a lot more Kip Lewis that week than we did this week.
No, I agree. Him and Kobe together were insane. And that's going to be your linebacker setup next season, right?
Yep.
Once Stutzman moves on into the league, you'll have Kobe and Kip playing together a lot. You'll see a mixture of Carter and Kanak together after that or whatnot. And yeah, the linebacker room is safe. And it's funny because talking about Trace Ford, I forgot. One of the young players was telling me that they call him the big cheetah. He plays the big cheetah role. That's why he's listed at linebacker or outside linebacker, because he plays kind of it's more of a three. When we go on our 3-man set, he comes back as a quote unquote linebacker, and so it's more of a run stuffing setup. But he's also pretty solid in he's really solid in coverage. Right when he steps back, he's pretty disruptive out there at linebacker. Yeah, he's got them big arms, and he does a really good job of knocking down passes, and he also does a really good job of blitzing on the edge. But one other thing too that jumped out was on that pick six, how he was able to get in there, block or hit the blocker. Like he basically ran in like he's going to blitz, and then he was able to go back. And if you notice, he started stumbling because it looked like he was trying to get back a little bit faster than his legs was letting him. But he still stayed upright, got the tip, caught it, and was able to run that bad boy back. That, to me, masterful job. I love talking about that play because that jumped out to me as the film room was definitely studied heavy. They knew that was coming, in which, at the same time, we can critique the competition on that one. Why in the heck would Hugh Freeze throw the ball 3rd and 4, and your running back, Jaquez Hunter, was out there getting roughly 5 yards to carry, right? Now, I know that deep in the game, the defense was turning up the intensity. Why in the heck, though, would you actually run the ball? That's a situation where you need to go ahead and pull that bad boy, not passing you to just keep handing the ball off. Why would you pass it? But we love it, of course, because that gave us the dub. Yep. You could see the panic out of them as the game was getting late because of the way that the offense was starting to churn, as well as the way the defense was playing. Yeah, we put in work late in that game the way that we needed to.
Yeah, Keegan Renault on social media shared a video that you could see Brent Venables basically celebrating before the pass got thrown because he saw what was coming. And again, just a masterful job by Zach Alley and Kip Lewis completely baiting Peyton Thorne into that throw. Again, quarterbacks are taught to throw to where the blitzer vacated, and Kip Lewis, he'd vacated his spot for a second and then dropped back right into it. And just a really, really well done, well drawn up defensive play call against what they were wanting to do, because it was going to be open. If Kip Lewis was actually blitzing, that slant was right there, and it was going to be a completion for a first down. And that is a very, very different ball game the rest of the way. But,
John, be honest, that looked exactly like me at quarterback on College Football 25. That's exactly what it looked like. That's the interception I throw all the time on that dang game. Is I drop back and I'm trying to hit a slant because I know a blitz is coming, and somehow a linebacker just magically shows up. Yep. What is this? Peyton Thorne looked like me throwing the ball on the video game.
Yeah, Kip Lewis teleported like Nightcrawler right back into that passing window, picked it up, and showed off that speed, man. It was incredible. So shout out to Kip Lewis again, second defensive player of the week in the SEC. Oklahoma's got a defense, guys. This is going to happen more frequently. Who could be
excited?
Next? Can't wait to find out. Hopefully it's somebody during Red River. We'll discuss Red River over the next couple of weeks. We'll get you ready for that as well. Oklahoma's moving up in the polls.